This man has done something that really has not been done before, and I'm really excited to have you on here to share your story.
My mom, Adam, passed away when I was young. I was about 10 years of age. She passed away from an autoimmune disease. When I hit my late 20s, I'm athletic. I'm just a typical dude. Got into college, I started to feel a little bit off. I felt really not my typical self. I was wasted. I was diseased, and what we realized is that I unfortunately had very similar symptoms to my mom. So they started testing me for autoimmunity, and sure enough, I tested super positive for my natural killer cells attacking my polymononuclear, my white blood cells. So I knew it was end of days.
I mean, they told you 3 to 6 months.
Hopefully 6. But instead of my journey ending, my journey was literally just beginning.
Hey everybody, Dr. Adam Boonder here. I am the peptide researcher and welcome back. I'm super excited about this episode because I have the man, the myth, and the legend that you are about to get to know, Dr. Richard Drucker. And this is his book right here. So if you don't know about this book, we're going to make sure there's a link so that you can actually get access to this book right here. This man has done something that really has not been done before. And I'm really excited to have you on here to share your story. The Peptide Pulse is about understanding the real life stories of what peptides do, the transformation, cell to cell communication. But in multiple episodes, I also talk about how peptides they're not the only answer. They really aren't. And I think that in anything, when it comes to health, wellness, there's so many multifactorial systems that have to come into play. We have this pleiotropic effect of peptides and what they do, nutrition and what they do. You have an incredible journey. And, you are the founder of Drucker Labs. I mean, guys, this guy, he knows his stuff. I mean, this guy is incredible. And what he has done to bring healing and true restoration to people, that's why you're here. So I would love for you to share give a little bit of background of who you are.
Sure.
And
Wow, Adam, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great intro. Don't know that I'm worthy of all that.
I practiced it for at least just right now.
Well, it worked. You have me intrigued.
Hey.
I'm ready to just say that, we all are looking for things to help our bodies to maximize not just our cellular potential, but our body's ability to regenerate, rejuvenate, and heal. And so the journey for me started 25 or so, 30 years ago. My mom, Adam, passed away when I was young. I was about 10 years of age. And it created a huge void in my life. And she passed away from an autoimmune disease. It's a very strange phenomenon, but her natural killer cells were attacking her polymononuclears, basically her white blood cells, and she wasted. I watched her deteriorate and waste. I pray no one ever experiences that at any age, whether you're 7, 10, or 50. And it was unfortunate, but the situation for her was that modern medicine at that time didn't really have any solutions. They tried to help her, obviously, as best they could. They created as much comfort for her, Adam, and things of that nature as we're always so used to. And then when I hit my my late 20s, I'm athletic. I'm just a typical dude,
20-year-old just
doing my thing.
Yes.
Right? I'm drumming. I'm a professional drummer as well, and I'm drumming all the time and doing my thing. I played a little bit of ball, whatever. It was just typical. And then when I got into college, I started to feel a little bit off. My energy was declined. The things in my body were just telling me I was very achy. I was fluey. I felt really not my typical self. And eventually, I'm going to say I was in my late 20s now. I really started to show signs and symptoms.
You went almost like 10 years of feeling this way.
I did, and I couldn't understand it. And I thought, well, gosh, is this something like my mom? I was like, no. I mean, she had something else.
It was her. It couldn't be you.
It couldn't be me, right?
Yeah.
So I literally did everything I knew at that time, which wasn't much. I wasn't into holistic medicine. I wasn't a doctor. I was literally studying in Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana, to be really a geologist, and then I was really taking pre-med courses, but I was also studying accounting. So I was doing like 3 different things at once.
Like, what am I going to do with my life?
I don't know what to do with life.
Yeah.
And I was teaching martial arts. That's crazy, but that was my life at that time, and I was drumming all the time. So I started slowing, and my body started showing signs and symptoms, and I started losing weight. And as I dropped more weight, eventually, I mean, I want to fast forward. Now I'm in my 32, 31 and a half, 32 years of age, and I'm supposed to be in my prime, Adam. And I literally started to have the sense that this is like end of days. But anyway, for me, like my body was shutting down, like I'm running high fevers, 103, 104, 105. That's ridiculous. And then I started to not be able to hold food. And then the next thing you know, I'm vomiting like pretty regularly. So I will share with you all this, that it took me years to sit here and even have this conversation with you. When I go back there, it's very challenging for me because it's me. And for me, that has the memories associated with it and the sickness and the pain. So long story short, eventually I dropped to about, I was 115 pounds at my worst. If I showed you a picture of me, I was emaciated. I was wasted. I was diseased. And what we realized is that I unfortunately had very similar symptoms to my mom. So they started testing me for autoimmunity, and sure enough, I tested super positive for my natural killer cells attacking my polymononuclear, my white blood cells. And they're like, oh, wow.
Isn't it amazing when, like, we sit back in a state of where we're at, and it's... You keep going, sorry. Isn't it amazing, like, we sit back in a state and we think, you know, this is going to happen to somebody else, or it happened to my loved one, but you know, I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to have that. It can't be me.
No.
And then there's so many people out there that live their lives almost in a point of like, like this is also normal, but yet we know it's not normal.
Right.
But it won't be me.
It can't be me.
Yeah. But then it just hits you.
Then the guy, like in the white coat, comes around and says, I mean, look, we're definitely not going to walk out. Like, we're not abandoning you. We're just letting you know that we're going to make you as comfortable as possible. We're not going to like leave you like this in pain. We don't have anything for you, particularly right now, as of today. We can't give you anything specifically to help resolve the condition, but we're not leaving you. We're not abandoning you. We're going to give you medicines as needed to keep you as comfortable as possible, because I was wasting. I was running high fevers. Dude, I was not good. Not good. So I struggled, I suffered, and one day a friend of mine said, look, we're going to start dunking you in a bathtub. I was 115 pounds, and I hate this part.
It's okay, man.
Hate it. I'm better now than I used to be. I want to talk about it. So that's why I don't talk about it a lot. But he dunked me in a bathtub at 100. If I was running 104 and a half, he made the water 104. So I was always a half degree less than what my body temperature was. And then he would leave for an hour or two and come back and do it again and again and again. And I did this process over and over. And then one day, I stopped eating. I wasn't digesting anything at that point. I was really struggling even just to hold water. If I got some water in, I was really grateful that day. And my body seemed to be like wasting about a pound to a pound and a quarter, a pound and a half-ish, like every day to a day and a half. I was dropping.
Wow.
So I knew it was end of days.
And I remember, and sorry to interrupt, but I remember you saying on stage, I just listened to you speak. I mean, they told you 3 to 6 months.
He said, hopefully 6, right? But there's just no way we'll know. You know, it's somewhere in there, whether it's 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. But they were like, it's just game over. It's just game over. And when somebody tells you that, whether you know them, you don't know them, you know, your medical people or your establishment, whatever, anyone on the planet tells you that, it's that's just humbling. You feel hopeless.
Yeah.
Your life is over. And my mom's life was over. But what I did was I went back home and they promised me they would make me comfortable. And he did. He gave me so much morphine. And I was just trying to figure out how to just make it next month. Like every day was hard. And I had I didn't have people around me, like my family. But somebody handed me this cassette tape. Crazy, right? A cassette tape back in the day. Like nobody even knows what cassette tapes are anymore. So somebody hands me a cassette tape. This guy by the name of Linus Pauling, he's talking to Congress. This is the 72nd Congress, second session. He's just explaining to Congress, like, basically, why did they hand me the cassette tape? So you could ask me that question. I don't really know the answer to that, but I get that all the time. But the reality of it is, when I listened to the cassette tape, he's basically explaining to a bunch of attorneys, a bunch of lawyers, that he said to them, and I'll never forget it for the rest of my life, he says, every ailment, every sickness, and every disease can be traced back to an organic trace mineral deficiency. I'm just like, what? Like, rewind play.
Yeah.
So every ailment, every sickness, and every disease can be traced back to an organic trace mineral deficiency. So I missed a key word. The key word was organic.
Yeah.
Because so I really was under the impression that organic was like, I don't know, chemical free.
Yeah, the foods that we eat that say organic on them. Yeah.
Like USDA
Yeah.
organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was minerals that were somehow chemical free or pesticide free, like green beans, corn on the cob, and potatoes. You know, you buy them and they're just like pesticide free.
Yeah.
That's USDA, but that's
not what it is.
What he was talking about.
No.
I didn't know that. It took me a little while to kind of go rewind, play, rewind, play, rewind, play. And I'm like, organic. So I started ingesting all these minerals, but organic. I don't feel any different.
Yeah.
Why did he make that statement? That's so crazy. That's like, wow. And then the next thing I'm really figuring out is what does he mean? Why? And it dawned on me, maybe he's talking about the second connotation of the word organic, because you can look it up in the dictionary. The second connotation of the word organic means containing carbon.
Yeah.
And that led me, you know, Adam, there are trajectory changers in our life, brother, like the day you met your wife, the day you decided you want to go into peptides, the day you had your first child. I mean, you can count 4 or 5 or 6 of them in your life.
The moments.
And critical.
Yeah.
Right? That was a trajectory changing moment in my life. I didn't know it then. So please don't think that I had all this hope and all this faith and I would be sitting here talking to Adam today.
Yeah.
I didn't think that. It was still game over for me, but I just was curious.
Yeah.
Why would he make such a bold, radical statement? And that's the part that gets interesting and why we want to explain to people is that he was really literally telling Congress, guys, you're not going to like what I have to say. Yeah. If you really, truly want to hear what I have to say, I'll tell you, but I'm just giving you notice, on notice, you're not going to like it.
And his whole point was to bring an awareness to Congress that we ultimately live in a sick and dying country.
And dying.
That all we do is we do not have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. And everything that's being done right now is only driving us into a deeper hole.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's a sad place to be. And of course, they're looking for, they ask them questions like, well, you know, we've got all this modern science. We've got like incredible drugs. Now we've got these amazing surgical procedures. We've got x-rays and, you know, and we can do CT scans and MRIs and we can do all this amazing. Why is disease manifesting at a higher rate than this, quote, modern allopathic medicine can resolve? Why? Why AIDS? Why retroviruses? Why are we experiencing things? But look at this incredible medicine we've got.
Yeah.
And he said, I mean, I can give you my impression. He said, but you're not going to like what I have to say. And that's the part that trajectory changed for me. What he told Congress, Adam, was so simplistic, but yet so mind-blowing, so mind-blasting.
Yeah.
He said, the reason that we are manifesting diseases at a higher rate than what modern, quote, allopathic or conventional medicine can resolve is because we have an agricultural problem. And they're like, oh, really?
Complete flip here. Wait, where are we going?
Where are we going? So he's like, well, you brought me here. And he said, I'm going to share with you my impression. I'm a 2-time Nobel Prize winner. So I'm going to give you my impression of what I think. Am I right? I don't know, but this is my hypothesis.
So agriculture is a leading cause of disease.
Correct. And that's what he said. He said, our agricultural problems started in the 1930s. And they're like, oh, really?
Oh, dude. Okay. So, you're saying this. And sorry, this just clicked into me. I remember when I was doing presentations 10 years ago, I used to talk about how myocardial infarctions were not even a thing until like 1930, 1928, which
right.
leads
Same
to,
exact.
Sorry, when you said
this-
1930, I'm like, wait a second.
Right.
This
There's
was something I was.
So there's something.
Which myocardial infarctions, for those of you who don't know, heart attacks.
And very deadly.
Yes.
So right, 1 out of 7 people that has a myocardial infarction is immediately dead, and 4 out of 7 people are dead within 3 months.
Yeah.
So we know the seriousness, and what Pauling explained to, I mean, sort of lack of a better way to say it, attorneys,
Yeah.
is that bioagriculture got replaced with economic-based agriculture, and they're like, so what?
Yeah.
Like, okay, where's this going? And he said, look, when bioagriculture changed to economic-based agriculture, that means the farmers stopped rotating their crop. And when the farmers stopped rotating the crop, what happened? They were planting in the same exact spot over and over and over. And he said, that's a little bit of a problem. And they're like, oh, really? And what would that problem be? And he said, the problem is that it took 3,000 to 5,000 years for Mother Nature to sort of establish in the first 18 to 24 inches of topsoil, these critical organic complexes.
The nutrients that are
Nutrients,
needed.
these polysaccharides, these mucopolysaccharides, these certain acids. And they are critical, these organic minerals, these organic complexes, but they got there over thousands of years. And he said, there's just no problem. He said, one little thing. And they're like, oh yeah, well, what would that one little thing be? And he said, the problem is that just don't have 3,000 years to wait for Mother Nature, because she'll just take care of it.
Right.
She will take care of this problem. Just don't have 3,000 years right now for us to wait. So that's your grandkids, their that's how many generations down the road. So they said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, basically what we mean is that as the farmer started planting their crops over and over and over in the same place, it depleted the nutrients and the critical organic complexes from the soil, and that means that the food supply then once became hollow. Once the food supply became hollow, we were ingesting foods that no longer contained critical complexes that we need to fight disease. And they're like, oh, right, please. And you should have heard it. This is hilarious. He said, you need 3 things to survive. So the attorneys were like, really? And he said, okay, what are they? And they're like, well, I mean, we need oxygen. And he's like,
Yep.
and then they're like, well, we really do need one. You should hear it. Literally, one attorney in the Congress says, pizza, like burger or something. It's like, so and he's like, oh my God, what's the second thing? He said, you need water. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, that makes right. Because you can go like 3 days. Some people go 4, but the game's over at some point if you don't have water. You're not hydrated. The third thing was the mind-blowing, mind-blasting thing. What's the third thing? He said to Congress. And, popcorn, people are just like being ridiculous.
Right.
He said, the third thing that you must have in order to survive, everything else is a luxury. The third thing is organically bound minerals. If you do not have organically bound minerals, the body doesn't have a neuroelectrical catalyst. So the body can't catalyze, the body can't exchange and produce adenosine triphosphate, which is energy. The body can't regenerate, the body can't replicate.
Can't get a signal out. It can't.
Every time you move your hand, Adam, every time we think, brother, every time, it's all an electrical process. And this process is initiated at the cellular level by something electrical.
Yeah.
We are electrical beings. So as he explained this to Congress, they're like, okay, so what you're saying is the foods became hollow, something about bioagriculture became economic, whatever, based agriculture, and the food supply somehow over by the time the 1940s hit was really, really depleted. And then on top of that, like you said, something about adding pesticides and chemicals for trace amounts to keep all the bugs away.
Right.
The next thing you know, we're eating hollow foods.
Yeah.
And he said, so why do you think there is such a synergistic interpretation between when the food supplies became less and less nutritionally dense and disease manifests? He said it's an exactness, and we have a world health problem. It isn't here in the United States. It's not just in Europe. It is worldwide. Soils are depleted, foods are hollow, and we need three things to survive, and everything else is a luxury. And then they said, finally, sort of towards the end of this, these guys were just like, all right, dude, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You're like so smart, like Mr. Nobel guy, like, oh my gosh. And what did you say the answer was again? and he was like, oh, well, I didn't say. You didn't ask. And they asked him like 3 times, well, if this is true. We're not saying it is.
Right.
But if there's some truth to what you're saying, maybe we'll see. If, what's this, what do we do? If that's real, and if it were real, how do we resolve it? And his answer was, you have to wait 3,000 to 5,000 years for Mother Nature to do it, because the answers aren't as simple as the problem. The problem was an immediate economic problem, an economic farming. The farmer wanted to plant his crop as fast as he could. He wanted to get it to market. He didn't want to be subsidized. He wanted to make money. He needed to make money. We got to manufacture food for what? The entire world. We've got to have silos that hold 6, 7, 8 years. Anyway, the whole problem, it's a manifestation of problems. And it began to worsen and over time.
Yeah.
So what he suggested was that we as a world get together through the World Health Organization and we try to come up with a methodology to resolve the problem.
Right.
Which led me into a major discovery. So now we're going to fast forward to whatever, I'm in my 30s, because Pauling was 30 years ago. So now it's 45 years later and I'm in my 30s dying. And the next thing I'm telling after listening to this cassette tape is maybe this guy was talking about like organic carbon. Like maybe it's not just USDA chemical-free minerals. Maybe he meant carbon-based minerals, but I looked everywhere. Brother, I looked on the internet. We looked everywhere in the planet to find truly organically bound minerals.
Yeah.
We couldn't find them. I didn't have, so I decided to contact some key people that I was friends with, and they said that, look, you're obviously in a very bad situation. I said, can you get me soil samples from like 125 different countries? These guys are like,
what? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what you want. And I said, please, I'm asking, could you do that? Could you get me some soil samples? So they literally brought in, was it exactly 125? I really don't know, but dozens of soil samples came in.
Yeah.
And then I literally started thinking about how could I create an extraction of certain molecular extraction of these minerals so that I could convert those minerals into a solution, and then I could take living carbon and start to begin to polymerize or try to figure out how to attach carbon to a mineral.
Yeah.
And brother, I have been on that journey ever since. And it took me about 13 years, but I was able to attach. Everybody said to me, impossible. That you cannot take living carbon. You cannot scientifically, medically, physiologically.
I love when people say you can't do something.
It's right. It's impossible. It can't be. You can't take the same material that we're made up of, which is carbon, methyls, aromatic protonates, heterocyclics, carbonos, carboxyls, quinones. You can't attach that to a mineral.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe not, but
maybe.
I'm going to try. And so I went through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of failures. This is not some get rich. This is not that kind of story.
This became your life's mission.
It did. Yeah. And eventually I came up with something that I thought was really radical. And then I'm so intrigued by the whole concept that I said, dude, I'm going to start drinking this.
Yeah.
This stuff, this liquid. It was like a dark brown liquid, and I'm going to start ingesting it. These guys are like around me are like,
don't.
No. Dude, you do what you want, but I'm telling you, as a dear brother in front of yours, that's not a good idea. You have no clue what you're doing. And I'm like, I know, but I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Everything on the table, I honestly, if there's any truth to what Pauline said, and I could attach carbon to a mineral, I want to start ingesting it. And the reason I wanted to start ingesting it, now I know, is because we are made up of 18% carbon. Our bodies are carbon-based beings. Our bodies contain carbon, and so carbon is the key to all life beings. The difference between the microphone in your watch and is that that's all carbonate, that's inert.
Yeah.
And we are made up of living carbon.
Wow.
So
organic.
We are organically bound things. So carbon attaches to hydrogen. That's really cool. Hydrogen needs carbon, but carbon doesn't necessarily need hydrogen. Carbon can attach to water. Water needs carbon, but carbon doesn't necessarily need oxygen or water. So the body, it's a very unique molecule, and the entire study of organic chemistry is the study of carbon. Carbon is in every cell in our beings. It differentiates everything that's living, breathing, and even the little critters in the ground, to your favorite pet, to the goldfish in your to your rabbit, to your pet gorilla. Everything contains carbon.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. So the things that don't contain carbon contain something called carbonate.
Right.
That's a fancy, quick way. That's a whole conversation. But carbonate is the things that are inert.
Yeah.
So, Adam, this is where it gets really, really intriguing. This is the part that's like, is that things that are inert are, for example, the nutrients that we are exposed to every day.
Yeah.
These things are made up of synthetic chemical nutrients.
Yeah.
Synthetic chemical nutrients is everything I know of, everything that I've seen, everything that I've ever heard of, but people don't understand.
Yeah.
That everything that's out there, and I mean, I've been doing it for 30 some years, and I'm telling you, everything that's out there is some form of a synthetic chemical nutrient. Everything is meaning that everything is synthesized in the lab.
Yeah.
Everything is manufactured in the lab. Everything that we ingest from a nutritional perspective, with the exception of peptides, but everything that we know of is literally based on some kind of synthetic chemical process, which would be like this. You go down to the store, you buy yourself a pair of synthetic shoes. What happens? It looks just like the real shoes from Cole Haan or Florsheim.
Yeah.
They look identical.
Yeah.
In fact, I could save $100, and they, in fact, they look prettier because they can make them look whatever they want.
Yeah.
The difference is that after a few minutes, or you've got for a few days, your body is literally like rejecting. Your body starts stinking in the shoe. The shoe is, your foot's sweaty. The shoe starts cracking. You can't condition it. It looks just like a real pair of shoes, but your body's not stupid.
Your body's, in a sense, it's rejecting
It is.
that synthetic chemical,
It is.
or creating some sort of adverse reaction.
It is.
Because it doesn't recognize it.
It doesn't understand it, but it looks, think of like a cubic zirconium. I was just talking about this a few minutes ago, and I couldn't think. I was like on stage, and I'm thinking, what's a good example? God, I need an example. I need something.
Yeah.
And what came to me was, what's the diamond, the fake, what's the fake?
Oh, I don't even know what it's called. But it's not a real diamond.
Zirconium? Cubic zirconium?
Is it cubic? Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
So cubic zirconium looks, and you need a microscope. So somebody who knows what they're doing has to take the cubic, they got to look at it, and then they go, oh, wow.
This isn't real.
Okay, well, how much did you pay?
Yeah.
Oh, please. You pay $12. But the rest of us, we go, oh my God, that's like, look at that.
Right.
That's like really pretty, or, you're kind of like showing it, whatever, you're wearing it, you're like happy and proud.
But that is basically what our food is today.
Same thing. So the body thinks that it's real. It looks like a real shoe. But the difference is that the real shoe contains something called carbon.
Yeah.
The shoe that looks so beautiful and so pretty for $12 contains something called carbonate. The body has no physiologic mechanism to utilize something containing carbonate.
Right.
It's like, knock, knock, who's there? The body goes, synthetic. I mean, I looked, and the body's like, wait, you look just like the real dog. You look just like real nutrient.
And so because of that understanding the physiology of the body, when it doesn't recognize something, that's what starts to create inflammatory responses, adverse reactions.
Correct.
It doesn't
Correct.
begin to build on that. And then that cascades further and further and further down the road, which creates a state of dis-ease, which then creates a state of disease that we then all of a sudden we just start calling whatever we want. We name diseases.
And all of a sudden you've got this list and a host of them too, right? Like from autoimmunity to rheumatoid to so many different diseases.
And then we live in a system that tries to correct those diseases with something else that's synthetic that your body also doesn't recognize.
Right.
And it's a freaking spiral. I call it the merry-go-round of misery.
So what's interesting about that is people ask me this question all the time. They're like, well, I mean, is it really that bad? And the answer is just that, I mean, if you smoke 2 cigarettes, I mean, well, what would we say? We would say, well, dude, stop. I mean, don't.
Right.
So let's just say you smoked 20 cigarettes.
Right.
We'd say, oh, just stop.
Yeah.
Oh, I really meant I smoke 10 cigarettes a day.
Right.
Oh, well, really? Well, that's not good, because what happens is, like synthetic nutrients or synthetic chemicals, here's the problem. And now we know this today. We didn't know it 30 years ago. Here's the kicker. Those things, they accumulate in extracellular space, interstitial fluid and fatty tissue. Wow. And they are literally stored there. Why? Because the body has no physiologic mechanism to release.
Wow.
So thank you, God, we love you, but for whatever reason, God, our bodies, we know physiologically, medically, our bodies have no physiologic mechanism to release that kind of material. The body doesn't know what to do with it. So the body says, oh, I better store it, figure it out later, and then I'll try to surround it, I'll encapsulate it, and then you wake up 5 years later, 7 years later, and it was just a little bit every day.
But a little bit every day builds.
And what happens? We have an autoimmune disease, we have a thyroid problem, we have endocrine disruptors, we have a whole array of pathology, which is a manifestation of our own doing, which we had no clue, zero understanding. We would never do that to ourselves.
So you've created a product that binds carbon
to
vitamins.
It does. And then not only, it does 3 things that are incredible. This technology literally will infuse organically bound carbon-based nutrients into the bloodstream in under 18 seconds.
Wow.
I love liposomal. I'm a huge fan. You can't convince me otherwise. I love it. That's 2.5 to 4 minutes entry into the cell. We're doing it under 18 seconds.
Wow.
Number 2, this is the part as to why I think, Adam, as to why I'm still here today, is that what it does is what's not received intracellularly, the body, instead of storing it, carbon has a humongous affinity for carbonate, meaning inert synthetic things that have accumulated over time in my body. Wow.
So it's attracted towards that.
it has a natural attraction. And the way I'll explain it, think of it like you're in the mall. They're on a chain. They're on a. Remember, you'd walk in the mall and you'd get jewelry that was 14 karat gold jewelry, but it's bound to metal or like the outside is coated.
Gold coated. Yeah.
Think of that. Right. So now you've got this 14 karat gold touching your skin. So, it's actually a pretty decent concept. I can't tell you how long it's going to last or how long it's work, but the concept was basically now you have gold touching your skin and what's underneath it is way under there and it's not touching your skin. Think of carbon CBT, carbon bond technology, just like that. What it does, carbon has an enormous affinity for carbonate, inert materials, synthetics, chemicals, toxins. It literally wraps itself around the toxin or around the inert substance. It bonds to it, it polymerizes to it, and then it converts it into an organically bound something, nutrient or polymer.
Wow.
And now, for the very first time, the body has the ability to release inert material that it could never
have done before.
Ever.
Wow.
Ever before.
Wow.
And I think that's why I'm literally here talking, is because yes, I had a genomic characteristic and yes, I had a genomic dysfunction, but it also had enormous exposures when I was very young, working in a boatyard and being around chemicals, and I was loaded. So it was just two sort of insults kind of making the perfect storm. The carbon began to go after the carbonate. And then what happens? The body goes, oh, well, please, that's like, I know what to do with. That's carbon. It's made up of the same stuff that I'm made up of. Oh, well, all of a sudden the cytochrome P452 pathway in the colon begins to dilate and it bonds to the inert material. It's sort of like carbon bonds it. It coats it like the 14 karat gold over the metal.
Yeah.
And the body's like, well, we'll just get rid of that. Let's just, we don't need that. Let's out.
A natural detox system.
Out.
Beautiful.
That's the beauty, by the grace of God. That is the beauty of the technology and why I believe I'm still here.
Yeah.
As I did it over a period of time. It wasn't, Adam, I didn't wake up one day and go, hey, brother, I took this stuff called carbon bond technology, and 3 days later, oh my God, I was eating and feeling great.
Yeah.
Not like that. It was a long journey, but instead of my journey ending, I didn't know this. I had no clue, because to me, game over.
Yeah.
My journey was literally just beginning.
Yeah.
And so
that's incredible.
I spent the last 30 years and I brought this to the naturopaths of the world, and they're like, that's impossible. You can't attach living carbon to any, it's not possible.
Yeah.
And I kept teaching and researching and teaching and presenting papers and presenting and presenting. And eventually I got elected to be the president of all the naturopathic doctors in the United States. So today, I don't know, it was like 37,000, whatever, 35,000. And they've just embraced the technology, and it's here. Yeah. The technology is here, brother. Yeah. We could have the cure for AIDS or something, but if we don't tell the world.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what the Peptide Pulse is about. It's about bringing this information out. Whether we speak on peptides, we speak about carbon-bonded nutrients, the things that we're deficient in. Again, I say deficient, but I say it's not necessarily that we are deficient. It's a lack of the efficiency. Like our body's not efficient enough to pull out those carbonates. It's not efficient enough to take those nutrients and utilize them. Mm-hmm. And man, you're changing lives. You're changing an industry, which is why I wanted to bring you on and to share this information.
No, bro. We are changing lives.
Yeah.
And if we could help one person,
amen,
one person,
to
never, ever go through what I went through, ever, I think we have done, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I can live with that. One person.
Yeah.
People, planet, purpose. And here's the beauty, is as we detoxify, And then people start ingesting peptides and minerals, and we take it with organically bound nutrients, like with carbon bond technology.
Yeah.
Now, those peptides are now bonded to carbon. You take them alongside CBT.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The results.
Oh my, dude, now you're carrying these amazing peptides into the bloodstream and I'm telling you, it will instantaneously bond.
Incredible.
The bonding is instantaneous. Today, it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
But now the body will receive the nutrient, the peptide, and have the basics, the infrastructure to regenerate, to repair, to create homeostasis within the cell, to release and detoxify, heal, regenerate, rejuvenate. The body will be able to literally resuscitate itself innately in a very unique and rapid form. And it's a conversion from dis-ease to homeostasis.
Yeah.
And the balance that occurs is carbon-based conscious balance.
Wow.
The body knows exactly innately what to do. It just needs a wee bit
of help.
A wee bit of what it's made up of.
Yeah.
And it'll magnificently do what it was innately designed to do.
It knows what to do.
It knows how and when and why. So now, given the fact that we have technology that can do that, and we have peptides that we know are so critical for every cellular movement and function physiologically in the body, the body's requirements are very high. But when bound to carbon, the utilization of that peptide is now, I just say, rocket ship.
Yeah.
It's
exponentially changed. It's incredible.
Radical. It's an absorption. It's a mass absorption.
Yeah.
The body can utilize to not just balance itself, but rid itself of. So it's like doing two things simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's pumping in all of the peptides, the minerals, and the nutrients that you need, and releasing, helping your body bond to all the things that it doesn't need, so that the body can excrete through the urine, the stool, and your largest organ, the skin.
Yeah.
And so the body then, at that point, is highly relieved. It's just, your body just goes, oh my God, thank you so much. I want to work for you. I will work for you. I remember how to work for you. And all you needed to do was feed me a little bit of what I'm made up of. And I promise you, I didn't forget.
Yeah.
And I will restore to the best of my ability. And today we can combine certain, modalities. We can combine peptides with nutrients and minerals in the bonding process. The body's ready. I think the people need to, we as a community need to embrace. We need to have some unity, create some community, some collaboration. We need each other.
Absolutely.
We need to learn from each other. We need to help each other. We need to love each other. We need to share it. We need to also honor each other and our work. And we need to do it with compassion. We need to do it out of love and consciousness.
Amen.
For people, planet, purpose.
I love it, brother. It's amazing. Share with them how they can get in contact either with you, your product. I just want you to share real quick. I don't know if you have a website or anything like that.
Yes.
I'd love, please share it with them.
We
And
do.
We'll...
Hey guys, look, the easiest way to get it, to learn, to get educated, to understand some of the science, some of the technology, just come to Drucker Labs. It's DRUCKERLABS, all one word, .com. There is a plethora of information, of science, 30 years of research, design, development. You'll see our success. You'll see how it has helped. By my wildest dreams, I humbly will submit, just by the grace of God, so many people. It is a huge blessing for prevention, meaning prophylactically to prevent disease. It's also a beautiful blessing curatively. God forbid you're somebody who's suffering, who's sick or in pain. If you're an athlete or you're trying to be at the top of your game, it is an incredible neuroelectrical catalyst. It will produce enormous amount of adenosine triphosphate in the cell to the degree that it lights a 1,000-watt light bulb, 1,000 watts. It will do a very, very similar phenomenon inside the body. It literally is a carbon-based electrical system that is designed to amplify your body's electrical currents, you release the toxins that your body doesn't need, create enormous adenosine triphosphate in the process.
Beautiful. Doc, thank you so much for your passion. I mean, this was incredible. I love it. I'm excited. I can't wait till we get to do this again. And for those of you that are listening, thank you so much. Make sure that you subscribe, because that is going to allow us to help more people. Yeah, that's our mission. That's our purpose. So, and I'm going to add one thing. We're going to leave his links below so that you can make sure that you can check out his information, because it's incredible. Don't forget, Dr. Drucker, get this book right here, especially if you're struggling. You don't know what's really going on within your health, with your system. Sometimes it can be as simple as just a supplement. And it's not just a supplement. It's one that's actually carbon bonded, so you can actually utilize it 18 seconds. I've actually tried it. It's incredible. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.